If you can't trust me, if you insist on seeing malice where there's only professional support, then maybe we should call off the engagement right now. Sophia Blake's voice, usually a soothing melody, cracked with anger, the words ripping through me like shrapnel. My own resolve solidified into a cold, hard stone. Fine, I heard myself say, the single word cutting through the charged air, utterly devoid of hesitation. Consider it done. That exchange had, just minutes earlier, erupted in Sophia's executive office, culminating in the complete shattering of a 7-year relationship. I had been walking down the corridor, about to push open the door, when I'd overheard her voice from within. Don't move. Your tie is still crooked. I stepped inside only to see Sophia adjusting the tie of a young man, Ryan Mitchell, the new intern who had become far too familiar with her. Neither of them noticed me at first. Ryan, a recent graduate with an air of wide-eyed innocence, caught sight of me, and a flicker of surprise crossed his face, quickly replaced by a fleeting, concealed smugness. His lips twitched into a subtle smile before he instantly plastered on a look of feigned panic. Sophia, you really don't have to. I can manage. Stay still, Sophia murmured, gently patting his shoulder. Always so clumsy. How will you ever face clients looking so disheveled? Sophia, I said, my voice cutting through the intimate scene, cold as ice. She froze, then spun around, her hands still near Ryan's tie, her cheeks flushed like a child caught in a forbidden act. Marcus, why are you here so early? She dropped her hands, instinctively stepping away from Ryan, putting a noticeable distance between them. My gaze swept over them, then landed on her desk. 2 coffee cups sat there, one half empty, the other almost drained. Scattered documents lay beside them, a clear sign they had been alone in her office for some time. Perhaps I arrived a little too early, I replied, my tone dangerously calm. I seem to have interrupted something. Mr. Thornton, I apologize. It's my fault. I'm always bothering Sophia, Ryan interjected, bowing his head in feigned contrition. Yet, a spark of defiance glinted in his eyes. Sophia quickly moved towards me, her hand reaching for my arm, but I instinctively recoiled, stepping back. She forced a strange laugh. Ryan just finished a meeting with a major client. His tie was crooked, and he didn't even notice. I remember you once told me, Marcus, that details determine success, right? I nodded slowly, my eyes flicking to Ryan's tie. It was a deep navy with a subtle, expensive pattern, clearly not something a typical intern could afford. Ryan, you can leave now, I said, my voice even. Once Ryan had departed, I turned to Sophia, meeting her gaze directly. Sophia, you and Ryan are far too close. Her eyes blinked rapidly several times. Marcus, you're being overly sensitive. I was just helping a subordinate with his attire. It's perfectly normal. She picked up one of the coffee cups but didn't drink. Ryan reminds me so much of myself when I first started. Clumsy and a bit lost. I just wanted to offer a little guidance. I struggled to suppress my rising anger. Guidance that requires such close proximity. An entire afternoon alone in your office. Her expression hardened, quickly becoming defensive. Are you investigating me? Having me followed? No need, I replied, my voice chilling. Your intimacy with him is obvious to everyone in the company. Everyone saw you two enter your office after lunch and not emerge. I paused, letting the implication hang in the air. Sophia, you are his superior, and you are my fiancée. Do you think this kind of behavior is appropriate? Sophia's face cycled from scarlet to ashen. Marcus Thornton, what exactly are you implying? That you suspect me? Ryan is just a kid fresh out of university. So innocent. Can't you stop thinking such disgusting things? Innocent, you say? I sneered, but my eyes remained cold. His gaze towards you isn't one of a subordinate or even a younger brother. Sophia shot to her feet, her voice brimming with fury. You are being utterly unreasonable. I never imagined you could be so petty. If you don't trust me, just say so. Her chest heaved with indignation. Ryan is young. What's wrong with me helping him? How can you be so narrow-minded? Helping him. I stared hard at her. Sophia, are you truly convinced you're just helping him? She slammed her hand on the desk. Don't push me too far. I rose from my chair, my eyes turning to ice. I'm simply reminding you not to deceive yourself or others. I know exactly what you're thinking. Sophia gritted her teeth, pointing towards the door. I don't need you to tell me how to live my life. Worry about your own. I held her gaze for 2 long seconds, then nodded. Good. I turned and walked out. As I closed the door, I heard the crash of something being flung against the wall behind me, likely a document holder. Leaving Sophia's office, a storm of suppressed fury churned in my chest. Her reaction was even more explosive than I'd anticipated, angry with me, all for the sake of an intern. It was absurd. I'd only taken a few steps down the corridor when I ran directly into Ryan. He was carrying a stack of files, and as soon as he saw me, he offered a smile that was both deferential and timid. Mr. Thornton, good afternoon. I stopped, my gaze fixing on his face. Young, pale, with sparkling eyes and a smile that reeked of calculated humility. He was quite the actor. I let out a soft, cold scoff. Ryan, isn't it? He nodded, lowering his voice conspiratorially. Yes, Mr. Thornton. I remained silent, simply staring at him. The smile on his face slowly stiffened, and a bead of sweat began to form on his brow. After a long moment, he finally couldn't bear it anymore. He shifted nervously. Mr. Thornton, do you have any instructions for me? I leaned slightly closer, lowering my voice to an almost imperceptible whisper. Stay away from Sophia. His pupils constricted, and his face instantly paled. Otherwise, you'll face the consequences. With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard his rapid, shallow breaths punctuated by a faint, trembling gasp of panic. I didn't turn back, pulling out my phone to call Gregory, my assistant, to cancel my evening engagements. But then, frantic footsteps pounded behind me. Mr. Thornton, please, please wait. I turned to find Ryan running after me, his face a mask of feigned distress. He stopped 2 meters away, breathing heavily, his eyes darting away from mine. Mr. Thornton, I wanted to explain something. I regarded him with a cold stare, saying nothing. He swallowed hard, his voice dropping, tinged with an air of injustice. Perhaps you're not in a good mood today. Have I done something wrong to cause a misunderstanding? My eyes narrowed. The performance had begun. Seeing no reaction from me, his boldness seemed to grow. Sophia has been very kind to me, always looking out for me like an older sister. I truly have no ulterior motives. Please don't misunderstand her, he added with practiced sincerity. Actually, Sophia often talks about you. She says you're very busy and don't always have time for her. I'm just helping her with small things, keeping her company so she's not so lonely. I stared at him, then suddenly laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. Ryan dropped the act. Do you truly believe I can't see the filth festering in your mind? His face immediately froze, then quickly shifted to an expression of injured innocence. Mr. Thornton, how can you say such a thing? I feel nothing but gratitude and respect for Sophia. His voice suddenly rose. Mr. Thornton, have you misunderstood me? Sophia once told me you weren't this kind of person. I took a step forward, cutting him off. These pathetic theatrics of yours might fool Sophia, but I make good on my words. If I discover you deliberately trying to sow discord again, the consequences will be far beyond anything you can handle. His face grew progressively whiter. I gave a slight, derisive smile, then reached out, gently adjusting his crooked tie. My movement was soft, but my touch was cold as ice. Stay away from her, I whispered, my voice low and clear as I leaned closer. This is your final warning. With that, I let go and turned to leave. Just then, Sophia's voice rang out from behind me. Marcus, what are you doing? I turned to see her striding towards us, immediately pulling Ryan behind her, her eyes blazing with fury as she glared at me. Are you provoking him again? I looked at her, protecting him like a mother hen, then glanced at Ryan. He stood behind her, head bowed, but a subtle smirk played on his lips when he thought no one was watching. Suddenly, the whole situation struck me as utterly ridiculous. Sophia, I said, keeping my voice level. Are you truly willing to cause a scene here for his sake? Her chest heaved, her voice sharp. Marcus Thornton, what right do you have to threaten him? What has he done wrong? I didn't answer, simply looked at her in silence. My steady gaze seemed to unnerve her, making her even more agitated. Ryan works so hard, without complaint, without fuss. Yet you treat him like this. I curled my lip. Hardworking, without complaint. My eyes flicked past her, landing on Ryan's face. Ask him directly what he just said to me. Ryan, don't be afraid, Sophia said, leaning slightly and patting his arm, her voice unbelievably gentle. Tell me the truth. What happened just now? Ryan immediately looked up, his eyes reddened, his voice trembling. Sophia, I was just explaining to Mr. Thornton. I told him you were kind to me because I reminded you of yourself when you first started, and that I had no other intentions. But Mr. Thornton, he seemed to misunderstand. He warned me to keep my distance from you. He sneaked a glance at me, then quickly lowered his head, adding, he said I wasn't worthy of being near you. You said that. Sophia suddenly whirled on me, her eyes burning. Marcus Thornton, how could you say such a thing? He cares about you so much, yet you. Enough, I cut her off, my voice chilling. By now, several employees had peeked out from their offices, whispering amongst themselves. I looked at Sophia. I'm giving you one last chance. Fire him, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. With that, I glanced at my watch, not bothering to argue further, and turned to leave. But Sophia's voice suddenly stopped me. Marcus, let me tell you, I will not fire him. She unexpectedly grabbed Ryan's wrist, her voice rising. If you can't stand Ryan being here, her voice suddenly soared, clear and ringing, as if she wanted the entire corridor to hear. Then, from today onward, Ryan is my personal secretary. No one is to touch him. The entire corridor immediately fell silent. Ryan's eyes widened in surprise, as if he'd just received an unexpected blessing. Sophia, this. Sophia shot him a cold glance, her eyes still locked on me. Marcus Thornton, I'm warning you. Don't make trouble for my secretary anymore. She paused for a beat, then said even louder, deliberately ensuring everyone could hear. Otherwise, let's call off our engagement. The air immediately froze. All eyes turned to me. I looked at her and suddenly a hollow laugh escaped my lips. Very well, then. Consider it cancelled. Sophia's face instantly went blank. Marcus Thornton, I didn't stop, turning and walking away. Behind me, I heard Ryan's faint panic. Sophia, are you all right? I walked out of the glass tower, headquarters of Sophia's family corporation. The cold wind whipped around my collar. I called Gregory, my chief assistant. After 3 rings, he answered. Mr. Thornton, your instructions. 3 things immediately. First, cancel the engagement ceremony with Sophia scheduled for 3 days from now. Send notices to all guests, clearly stating a mutual decision to call it off. There was a clear pause on the other end, but Gregory, ever the professional, quickly regained his composure. Understood. I'll handle it right away. Second, halt all cooperative projects between my corporation and the Glass Tower Group, including the 3 ongoing real estate developments and our investment in the high-tech industrial park. This time, Gregory's voice held a tremor. Sir, we've already begun funding for the high-tech park. Withdraw completely, I cut him off. Pay any contractual penalties as stipulated. Understood, sir. Third, freeze all corporate support for the Glass Tower Group, including bank guarantees, supply channels, and referral networks. Gregory no longer hesitated. Should I send official notices to the relevant partners, sir? I lowered the car window, looking at the distant glass facade of the glass tower. Follow the highest level protocol for contract termination and cessation of support. Understood, Mr. Thornton. Oh, and by the way, should I have someone investigate Ryan? Find out who he really is. Good. Do it now. I hung up, opened my email, and pulled up Glass Tower's financial assessment report from the previous quarter. Debt-to-asset ratio, 62%. Cash flow almost depleted. All 3 major projects depended on credit guaranteed by my corporation. I tapped the screen, forwarding the report to my risk control director, attaching a single instruction: cease all credit lines. Effective immediately. Less than a minute later, my phone buzzed. A message from Gregory. Sir, the engagement ceremony has been cancelled. The hotel inquired if we wish to keep the jewelry and attire ordered. I replied, no, return everything. After a moment's thought, I added, add Sophia and her parents to the company's blacklist. That evening, I was reviewing the file Gregory had compiled on Ryan. He had joined Glass Tower 3 months ago, his performance so poor he'd almost been let go during his initial internship. Yet, in his second month, Sophia had personally intervened to grant him full-time status. Just then, my phone began to vibrate insistently. A call from Sophia. I stared at the name on the screen until it stopped ringing. 30 seconds later, it rang again. I answered but remained silent. Marcus. Sophia's voice came through, filled with accusation. Are you out of your mind today? Why did you come to my office and say you wanted to cancel the engagement? Do you have any idea? Didn't you say it first? I cut her off. I was just angry. I didn't mean it. She sighed heavily. Marcus, you know I love you. Ryan is like a younger brother to me. There's nothing more between us. But I took you seriously, I interrupted, my voice laced with sarcasm. On the other end, I heard a sharp intake of breath, followed by her shaky question. Are you really this jealous just because I promoted Ryan? Is it worth making such a huge deal out of this? Sophia, do you truly believe I'm merely jealous? She choked on her words. Since Ryan joined 3 months ago, you've had lunch alone with him at least 3 times a week. You've worked late with him twice out of 4 late nights. And last week, you cancelled our date, claiming you had a client meeting, when in reality, you took him to that newly opened Michelin restaurant. Her voice began to tremble. You investigated me. No need to investigate, I scoffed. The head chef at that restaurant is an old friend of mine. He saw you enter the couples section with a young man, even took a picture and sent it to me, asking if he was my younger brother. It was that incident that had first prompted me to seek out Sophia, hoping she would understand the need for boundaries with Ryan. Never had I expected her reaction to be so extreme. That was why I had ordered the investigation, which had revealed the extent of this intern's favored treatment since joining the company. A long silence stretched on. Then Sophia's voice suddenly sharpened. So what do you want now? To threaten me, or do you think our company can't survive without you? Threaten? I allowed a dry laugh. Do I need to threaten you? For the past 5 years, I've given Glass Tower a 15% price discount on orders and waived bank guarantee fees. Is that not enough? She shrieked, cutting me off. So in your eyes, my family has simply relied on your handouts. I loosened my tie, pulling at the collar. I'm merely reminding you that some foundations cannot be built on effort alone. Marcus Thornton, I admit that in the early stages, my company received considerable assistance and introductions from you. But the most important reason for our success was our own capabilities. Even without you, we would have thrived. So, Marcus Thornton, stop acting so arrogant in front of me. We had a mutually beneficial relationship. So that's how she saw it. When people ran out of things to say, they often just laughed. I'd cooked the rice, but she still saw me as an enemy, someone who turned kindness into resentment. So, she continued, stop interfering in my affairs. Ryan is just like a younger brother to me. If you can swallow your pride this once, I can overlook this incident. Just focus on preparing for our engagement in 3 days. Sophia, I replied, my voice icy, you're dreaming. Marcus, what did you just say? Her voice immediately grew louder, followed by the sound of something shattering on her end. Then Ryan's faint concern. Sophia, calm down. Mr. Thornton surely doesn't mean it. I hung up decisively. Soon after, a message from Gregory appeared on my phone. Risk Control reports that Glass Tower's largest creditor bank has received our termination notice for their guarantees. Excellent, I replied. Half an hour later, another lengthy message popped up, this time from Sophia. Marcus Thornton, please let me explain. Ryan and I truly have nothing going on. He's just a young graduate. I admit I've been a bit too attentive to him lately, purely because he reminds me of myself when I first started. You know, I've always loved you the most. We've been together for 7 years since college. Are you really going to end everything over such a small matter? All right. Tomorrow, I'll keep my distance from Ryan. I won't let him be my personal secretary either. Are you satisfied now? I finished reading, went into settings, and added her number to my blocked list. Only now, after everything, was she offering an apology. Too late. Early that morning, the day the engagement ceremony was supposed to take place, Sophia's phone screen lit up with a message from Ryan. Sophia, you're sure to be the most beautiful bride today. Do you need me to come to the hotel early to help with anything? A faint smile touched Sophia's lips. Since their argument 3 days ago, Marcus hadn't contacted her, but she wasn't worried. Ryan was right. As the heir to the Thornton Corporation, Marcus had sent out engagement invitations and informed all major media outlets. No matter how angry Marcus was, he wouldn't trifle with family honor. She messaged back, "No need. Marcus, I know him. You get some rest. Tomorrow will be busy." Her mother knocked and entered, carrying a perfectly ironed gown. "Marcus still hasn't called?" she asked, a worried frown on her face. 3 days. Who behaves like that? Don't worry, Mother, Sophia replied, her voice calm. He'll definitely be at the hotel on time. Her mother started to say something, then sighed, her words trailing off. You've always been stubborn since you were a child. About that intern. Mother, Sophia cut her off, her voice firm. Ryan is my personal secretary now. He's very capable. Marcus needs to learn to respect my decisions. Just then, the makeup artist arrived right on schedule. For an hour, the artist meticulously worked on Sophia's face. Miss Sophia, you truly are beautiful, the artist murmured, delicately adjusting her veil. When Mr. Thornton sees you, he won't be able to take his eyes off you. Sophia offered a strange smile. It was true Marcus liked this look on her, elegant, refined, perfectly flawless. Not like Ryan, who always said she looked beautiful even without makeup, and that her focused expression while working was the most captivating. She suddenly jolted at her own thought, shaking her head quickly. Exactly at 11 a.m., the Glass Tower family car pulled up to the hotel as expected. The doorman politely opened the door. Sophia gracefully stepped out but paused, confused, when she didn't see the welcome banner she anticipated at the entrance. She mumbled, strange. Did Gregory forget to put up the banner? As she stepped into the main lobby of the hotel, Sophia's face instantly drained of color. Directly in front of her was a massive wedding banner, congratulations on the wedding of Mr. Victor Sterling and Ms. Lena Thornton. Sophia's hands clenched into fists. No, it can't be. The hotel manager quickly approached, a professional smile on his face. Miss Sophia, why are you here? Where's my engagement ceremony? Her voice trembled. Are you referring to the J ballroom reserved by Thornton Corporation? The manager's expression showed clear surprise. Didn't you know? 3 days ago, Mr. Thornton canceled the reservation. Today's venue was booked by Mr. Sterling 6 months ago. He initially booked the Rose Ballroom but found it too small. After Mr. Thornton canceled, he immediately switched to the J Ballroom. The timing was perfect. Sophia's mind reeled. She barely heard the rest of his words. Marcus Thornton had really canceled. He truly didn't want her anymore. Just then, a server pushed a pastry cart past, carrying a 5-tiered wedding cake. On the top tier were small figurines of a bride and groom, embracing sweetly in their formal attire. That should have been her and Marcus. Her phone vibrated. A message from her mother. What's happening? Chairman Kent just informed me he received an official notice from Thornton Corporation terminating all cooperation. Your father is furious. His blood pressure has spiked. Call Marcus immediately and find out what's going on. Sophia's fingers trembled as she dialed the familiar number. The number you have dialed is currently unavailable. She called again, still the same cold message. A WeChat message she sent immediately displayed a red exclamation mark. Sophia stood rooted to the spot, finding it difficult to breathe. In that moment, she finally realized one thing: Marcus Thornton was serious. He truly didn't want her anymore. Behind her, whispers began to spread. Isn't that young Miss Sophia? I heard her engagement was today. Could it be that the Thornton family broke it off? Sharp, judgmental gazes felt like daggers piercing her back. Sophia stumbled, turning to flee, but tripped on a loose section of carpet. She fell headlong onto the polished marble floor. The pain from her knees almost made her faint, but she barely registered it. Scrambling to her feet, she ran towards the elevator, disoriented. Behind her, a hotel employee asked in alarm, "Miss Sophia, are you all right?" The elevator doors closed at that exact moment. She slid down to the floor, unable to stand. Her expensive wedding dress spread around her like a wilting flower. Her phone vibrated again. A message from Ryan. "Sophia, the HR department just told me that my promotion process has been rejected by corporate headquarters." She stared at the message and then suddenly burst out laughing. She laughed, and then tears began to fall. How truly ridiculous. Because of an intern, she had lost Marcus Thornton. Now she had nothing left. When Sophia stumbled into the glass tower building, the entire skyscraper was cloaked in a strange atmosphere. The receptionist, seeing her, immediately sprang to her feet in alarm. "Miss Sophia, the chairman requests your immediate presence in the conference room." As the elevator doors opened, angry shouts erupted from the conference room. "What do you mean the bank wants to withdraw funds? Wasn't our last month's financial report perfectly fine?" Her father, Jonathan Blake, slammed his hand on the table, facing a trembling CFO. "Chairman, Thornton Corporation sent an official notice this morning withdrawing all guarantees. Immediately after that, the Banking Supervision Department." "Enough." Jonathan looked up, seeing Sophia, her eyes red-rimmed, entering the room. "Come here." The conference room door slammed shut behind her. Her mother slumped into a chair, her face pale. "Sophia, what have you done? Why did Marcus Thornton cancel the engagement so suddenly? Wasn't it just about an intern?" Jonathan slammed his tablet onto the table. The screen clearly displayed an internal memo about Ryan's appointment as personal secretary. "Because of that damned weasel, you made the entire family despised by Thornton Corporation." Sophia opened her mouth, her throat burning, unable to utter a word. "No need for your explanations." Jonathan kicked the chair behind him, roaring. "Now look what you've done. The oceanfront project is suspended. Investors in a high-tech industrial park are pulling out, and the bank is demanding repayment of a $300 million loan. Do you know how long the finance department just calculated our cash flow can last?" He held up 2 fingers. 2 months. Her mother immediately rushed forward, grabbing her daughter's hand. "Sophia, go find Marcus Thornton and apologize right now." "It's no use." Sophia shook her head robotically. "He's blocked all my calls and messages." "Then go to Thornton Corporation headquarters. Block his car. Kneel and beg him. Plead with him to come back. 3 generations of our family's legacy cannot be destroyed by you." Sophia stumbled out of the conference room. As she walked through the work area, she keenly felt every strange gaze fixed upon her. Department heads who had always greeted her warmly now ducked their heads, pretending to be busy. From the pantry, hushed whispers drifted out. "I heard Mr. Thornton canceled the engagement on the spot because Miss Sophia was coddling an intern. It's all over then. My cousin at the bank says our company has been red flagged for high risk." She pushed open her office door to find Ryan standing before her desk, looking bewildered. "Sophia. Get out." Ryan's eyes widened. "What?" "I said, get out." Sophia snatched a stack of documents from her desk and hurled them at him. "Get out now." Only when the office was empty did she collapse into her chair. On her computer screen, a flood of unread emails, all marked urgent. Termination notices, debt reminders, collateral processing warnings. The top one, received 10 minutes ago, based on severe credit risk, our bank will initiate accelerated loan recall procedures. She shakily opened her contacts, finding a name she hadn't called in 3 years. Gregory, Thornton Corporation CEO's office. "Gregory." Her voice was hoarse. "Can you please tell Marcus Thornton I am sorry?" "I apologize, Miss Sophia." Gregory's voice was formal, tinged with a hint of pity. Mr. Thornton has instructed that all matters related to Glass Tower are to be handled strictly according to commercial protocol. The phone emitted a long, piercing tone. Amidst the relentless dial tone of the disconnected call, Sophia finally broke down, burying her face in her hands and sobbing. Outside, night had fallen over the city. Brilliant lights illuminated the Glass Tower building, now plunged into crisis. She stayed awake all night in her office, only briefly dozing off at dawn, dozens of empty coffee cups littering her desk. When the workday began, she awoke and mechanically flipped open the new report from the finance department. A sea of red dominated the receivables, the figures sending a chill down her spine. Thud. The sudden bang on her door startled her. The door burst open, and Richard Kent, the marketing director, rushed in. He had been with the Blake family for 15 years, his eyes red-rimmed. "Sophia, we just received word that Horizon Group has cancelled all orders. That's 40% of our revenue." Sophia's vision blurred. Wasn't the chairman of Horizon Group Marcus Thornton's golf buddy? Just then, the HR director burst in, panicked. "Sophia, the entire technical department has submitted their collective resignation. They say they've received job offers from Thornton Technologies." Her phone rang again. On the other end, the cold voice of the bank's credit department head. "Sophia, if your company fails to pay the first installment of the loan by 9 a.m. tomorrow, we will proceed to freeze all your corporate accounts." Sophia clenched her fists, trying to stay composed. "Mr. Harrison, we've collaborated for many years. I apologize." The voice cut her off without hesitation, and the call abruptly disconnected. Sophia looked up through a glass office wall. The entire work area seemed to be in chaos. Some employees were packing boxes, clearing their desks. Others crowded around the printer, frantically printing documents. In a conference room, several mid-level managers were locked in a heated argument. This was the scene of the collapse of a dynasty built by the Blake family over 3 generations. Her phone vibrated. A video message from her mother. She opened it to see her father slumped on the floor of his office, surrounded by scattered medication and empty liquor bottles. Before the camera, he wailed in despair. "Are you satisfied now? The whole industry knows Jonathan Blake's daughter had her engagement called off because of some opportunistic weasel." The video cut abruptly. Sophia staggered to her feet, suddenly feeling a surge of nausea. She rushed to the restroom, vomiting until the world spun. When she looked up into the mirror, she was startled by her own reflection, eyes swollen, hair disheveled, vomit staining the corner of her mouth. Was this the Sophia who had once been hailed as the gem of the business world by financial magazines? The restroom door opened, and 2 female employees walked in. Seeing her, they froze, offered an awkward nod, and tried to turn away. "Wait," Sophia called out, her voice hoarse. "What are people saying in the company now?" The 2 employees exchanged glances. The younger one, gathering her courage, spoke softly. "Miss Sophia, everyone is saying that Mr. Thornton sent word across the entire industry. Anyone who helps Glass Tower is going against him." The older one quickly added, "Our procurement department tried to ask a partner for an extension on payment this morning. They replied directly, 'You've offended someone you shouldn't have.'" Sophia waved them away. She turned on the faucet, bending down to splash her face vigorously with cold water. The icy shock brought back a memory. 3 years ago, when Marcus had taken her to a banquet hosted by a state-owned corporation, the revered chairman himself had personally come to the door to greet them, shaking Marcus's hand and saying, "Mr. Thornton, your presence honors us." At the time, she'd only felt a surge of pride. Now, she understood it wasn't her company's strength that commanded respect, but the formidable backing of the Thornton Corporation. More ridiculously, she had mistaken that foundation for her own hard work, even saying such words to Marcus's face. Returning to her office, she found Ryan standing at the door. This time, a clear bruise marked his face. His voice trembled. "Sophia, security wouldn't let me into the work area. They said I've been fired. My apartment, too, was company subsidized." Sophia looked at the face that had once softened her heart, now utterly alien. "Do you know why Marcus targeted you?" Ryan's eyes blinked rapidly. "Is it because you gave me too much attention?" "No," Sophia chuckled, a sound more pitiful than crying. "It's because you were stupid enough to think you could play games behind his back and get away with it. With that, she slammed the door shut in his face. When Sophia emerged from the elevator, the entire office floor was eerily silent. What was once a bustling hub was now occupied by only a few employees, hunched over their keyboards like ghosts haunting the halls. As she walked past, everyone lowered their heads, avoiding her gaze as if she were a plague to be shunned. Pushing open the emergency exit door, she intended to step out for some fresh air. But then she heard a familiar voice echoing from the floor below. "The Glass Tower Group is finished this time." Ryan's voice, surprisingly jubilant, had never sounded so relieved. "I heard Mr. Thornton himself intervened. Who would dare cooperate with them now?" Sophia's entire body stiffened. "You really reacted quickly, didn't you?" Another person chuckled. "I heard the finance department even overpaid you 3 months' salary." Ryan snickered. 3 months? That's nothing. You want even hotter gossip? You know what? That day, I deliberately knelt in front of Marcus Thornton to provoke him. That idiotic woman actually fell for it and turned on Marcus because of me. Sophia's fingers clamped onto the edge of the fire door, drawing blood. The funniest thing was the day the engagement was cancelled. She even rushed to the hotel in her wedding dress. Turns out she saw someone else's wedding happening there. I heard she just collapsed on the spot. What's all this about a powerful family? Didn't I just shatter it myself? You're truly vicious, the other person laughed. Too bad you've lost your backing now. Initially, I planned to cling to her to gain favor. Ryan's voice dropped, dripping with malice. Then I could spend money freely. Maybe even become a mistress or something. Those rich people, you know. He scoffed. With money, marriage is just a game. Sounds about right. The other person agreed. Powerful families are all dirty, but their tangled interests make it hard to break free. That's why I deliberately provoked Marcus Thornton to see if I could sow discord. Ryan boasted, as long as that business marriage was cancelled, I could at least become her lover. Too bad the Glass Tower Group was so useless. So, you personally killed your own golden goose. It makes me furious just thinking about it. Ryan sneered. Who told that woman to be so stupid? She believed everything I said, hook, line, and sinker. Did she really think I was some easily manipulated intern? If it weren't for her being the CEO of Glass Tower. Crash. The fire escape door was kicked open, the sound reverberating through the stairwell. Ryan looked up, his face instantly paling. Sophia, Miss Sophia. Sophia stood on the stairwell, trembling from head to toe. Finally, she saw his true face, the face she had once believed to be innocent and clumsy. Now, it was nothing but insidious triumph after a series of successful manipulations. You used me. Her voice was alien, even to herself. Ryan recoiled in panic. No, that's not it. Let me explain. I was just joking, just boasting a little. You deliberately provoked Marcus Thornton. No, Miss Sophia. Ryan suddenly dropped to his knees. I was wrong. I was possessed. I only cared about you too much. Please don't. Thud. Sophia ripped the fire extinguisher from its cabinet, heaving it towards him. It missed, slamming into the wall beside him with a deafening crash as Ryan scrambled backward, covering his head. I'll kill you, Sophia screamed, lunging down the stairs. Her high heels snapped, but she kept moving like a madwoman. You destroyed the Glass Tower Group. You destroyed me. Ryan scrambled on all fours, shrieking towards the emergency exit. Help. Sophia's gone mad. She's trying to kill me. Security guards, hearing the commotion, rushed over. Seeing the scene, they panicked, immediately restraining Sophia, ceaselessly urging her, Miss Sophia, please calm down. Seizing the chaos, Ryan, like a cornered rat, slipped away and vanished without a trace. Sophia, however, completely collapsed. She sank to the floor, her expensive suit stained with dirt, her meticulously styled hair matted to a face streaked with tears. Let me go. I need to see Marcus Thornton now. Right now. But no one dared to move. Finally, her mother, having heard the news, rushed over and pulled her into the car. She clutched her daughter's shoulders, a mix of anger and helplessness on her face. Look at yourself. What have you become? Going mad in front of everyone for a worthless scumbag. On the way to Thornton Corporation headquarters, Sophia finally calmed down. She looked at herself in the vanity mirror, adjusted her tangled hair, wiped away the smudged eyeliner, and even reapplied her lipstick. Don't worry, Mother. Her voice was eerily calm. Marcus still cares about me. He's just angry. Her mother didn't reply, clearly without much hope. As the car stopped at the gates of Thornton Corporation, Sophia suddenly gripped her mother's hand. Where's my phone? Give it to me quickly. She opened her album, selecting her favorite picture. Last Christmas, Marcus holding her from behind, both of them smiling in front of a glittering Christmas tree. She set it as her lock screen wallpaper. She checked her makeup a few more times. He'll definitely see me. 7 years of love. He can't possibly. Just then, the large glass doors of the building opened, and Marcus stepped out. Sophia immediately pushed open the car door and rushed forward. I was about to get into my car when I heard a voice call from behind me. I turned, looking coldly at Sophia. Miss Blake, do you have anything else to say? Marcus, please let me explain, she sobbed. It was all Ryan's trap. He just admitted he deliberately tried to break us apart. I know, I replied, my voice calm. She froze. You knew. I warned you, I said, my gaze unwavering, that he was just putting on an act. But how did you react in the end? Sophia was speechless, unable to answer. Miss Blake, between you and me, the moment you chose to believe him, to protect him, even threatening to cancel our engagement for his sake, that was when everything ended. No, it's not like that. Sophia shook her head frantically, tears blurring the world before her. I truly loved you. For 7 years, there was only you in my heart. Leave, I cut her off coldly, turning to my driver. To the airport. Sophia lunged, clinging to the car window, refusing to let go. Where are you going? I'll come with you. Can't we just start over? I don't need anything. I just need you. Ms. Blake, please maintain your dignity. The car slowly began to move. She was forced to let go, collapsing onto the cold pavement. The black Maybach sped away, the sound of its engine receding, mud splattering from its wheels onto her dress. Her mother walked over, her voice thick with exhaustion. Let's go home. You've already mortgaged 3 generations of our family's legacy. Sophia remained rooted, staring at the disappearing car. A moment later, she suddenly burst out laughing. How ironic, she whispered. She had once thought herself special, once believed that 7 years of love could never be broken. But now she understood, in Marcus Thornton's world, a betrayer would never get a second chance. The Glass Tower Group's bankruptcy notice was published on the front page of the Financial Times. That day, Sophia went alone to the French restaurant they used to frequent. The waiter recognized her, his expression a little awkward. Ms. Blake, your usual table by the window. She pointed to the spot where Marcus had first confessed his feelings. 2 sets of cutlery were laid out. The restaurant had excellent heating, yet she still shivered. As the waiter poured wine, she unexpectedly asked, Has Mr. Thornton been here recently? Yes, he has. The waiter paused for a moment before adding, Last weekend, he came with Miss Serafina Sterling from Sterling Pharmaceuticals. Sophia stared blankly, then let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. As she stepped out of the restaurant, her phone displayed the latest news headline, Thornton Corporation announces strategic investment in Sterling Pharmaceuticals, forming a $100 billion healthcare ecosystem alliance. The accompanying photo showed Marcus Thornton and Miss Sterling raising their glasses, smiling at each other. Standing in the biting wind of late December, Sophia finally understood this was truly the end. 3 months later, in a lower-end apartment complex on the city's west side, Sophia wore a faded down jacket, hand-washing an old apron in the communal laundry area. Behind her, a familiar argument erupted. You old scumbag, if you follow me again, I'll call the police. Ryan, dressed in a delivery uniform, shouted back at an old man shuffling after him with a cane. You worthless animal. Jonathan, Sophia's father, raised his cane and struck Ryan's back with a dull whack. The residents nearby were all too used to this scene. No one paid any attention. This was the 3rd time this week. Sophia wrung out her apron, her movements devoid of emotion. Since moving to this area, her father's only daily activity was to secretly follow Ryan. Ryan had been blacklisted from the industry. He couldn't get a job anywhere. Even if a company unaware of the situation tried to hire him, the background check would reveal a string of negative evaluations left by the Blake family's connections. He was forced to leave company after company. Eventually, with no other options, Ryan resorted to working as a delivery driver, a precarious job with little demand. But Jonathan still wouldn't let up, tracking down every address Ryan delivered to, waiting in ambush. All he did was vent his festering rage. The man who was once the distinguished chairman of the Glass Tower Group was now just a crazed wanderer. A neighbor stood at the top of the stairs, yelling, "Sophia, come and get your father. The building management is complaining again." Sophia paid no attention. She carried her plastic basin upstairs, passing a utility box plastered with a notice of power disconnection due to unpaid bills, walking through a corridor littered with trash and discarded items. Finally entering her cramped rental room, the television inside hummed. Thornton Corporation today officially acquired Glass Tower's former headquarters. It will be redeveloped into an artificial intelligence research center. Sophia quietly closed the door, shutting out the news report and her father's curses. On the top floor of Thornton Corporation's executive office, Gregory placed a tablet on my desk. "Mr. Thornton, the auction for Glass Tower's assets has concluded. We acquired it at 35% of its appraised value." I didn't look up, still reviewing documents. "Proceed with the redevelopment as planned." Gregory hesitated for a moment. This morning, Jonathan went to Ryan's delivery route again and was chased away by security. Should we continue to have someone follow Ryan and report his activities to the Blake family? The pen in my hand paused on the page. I smiled, then continued signing the document. "Keep going. Let them tear each other apart. It's quite entertaining." With that, I stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows. From this height, I could survey the entire city. The office building that once belonged to Glass Tower now glowed with the Thornton Corporation logo. One rainy evening, as I drove into the underground garage, I saw Sophia, drenched and shivering, kneeling by the entrance. Her hair clung to her face, her lips were blue. Seeing my car lights, she staggered to her feet, pounding on the car window. "Marcus, I was wrong. Please, I beg you. Give me one more chance." I frowned, signaling my driver to keep moving. "Don't go, Marcus." She was dragged along by the moving car, her voice hoarse as she shrieked. "Just give me a chance to talk." The car's wheels splashed through a puddle, spraying mud all over her, but Sophia still struggled to keep pace. Finally, she blocked my path right in front of the elevator. My gaze was icy. "Move." She collapsed onto the cold elevator floor. I know I was wrong. Truly, I know I was wrong. The elevator doors slowly began to close. I pressed the door close button, not out of softening, but because I didn't want the security guards to have to drag her away and cause further commotion. "Say what you need to say quickly." Sophia looked up, rainwater mingling with tears streaming down her face. It was all my foolishness, my inability to distinguish between sincerity and deceit. I thought Ryan needed my protection, but he was only exploiting my compassion. She unexpectedly clutched my trouser leg. But none of that is an excuse. The real reason is that I was scared. I looked down at her, my eyes cold. "Scared? You were too perfect." "So perfect that I felt unworthy," she choked, barely able to speak. "So I deliberately indulged Ryan just to prove that you would get jealous, that you would lose control for me." She couldn't continue. Only muffled sobs filled the confined space of the elevator. "Are you finished?" I pressed the button. Sophia panicked, staggered to her feet, and hugged my legs tightly. "For 7 years, that time you gave me the star necklace, I was burning with fever, but still stayed by your side for 3 days. The time you were struggling in the board meeting, I stayed up all night helping you prepare documents. All of that was real. My love for you never changed." The elevator doors opened again. I gently peeled her fingers from my leg one by one. "Sophia, your biggest mistake was using my love as a bargaining chip." She sat on the floor, tears streaming down her face. "That day when you chose to protect him and threatened me, the men who once loved you, Marcus Thornton, died. With that, I stepped out. Please forgive me, Marcus. Give me one more chance. The company, I'll agree to whatever you want. I don't need anything at all as long as I can be with you. Even if it means being your aide, your assistant, Sophia cried, running after me. The Glass Tower Group, I'll win it back myself. But as for an assistant like you, I opened the door to my office, cutting her off. Before she could finish, I slammed the door shut. Sophia knelt crying outside the door, pounding on it and sobbing. I'm sorry. I truly know I was wrong. I love you. Please forgive me. She knelt there all night, but I never opened the door once. Love that arrives too late is worth less than a roadside weed. 1 year later, in late autumn, I stood on the top floor of the newly inaugurated research center, silently looking down at the dazzling city lights through the floor-to-ceiling windows. This glass building, once Glass Tower's headquarters, had been renovated and now stood as a new symbol of technology. Gregory knocked and entered, handing me a stack of documents. Mr. Thornton, this is the final program for next week's conference. I casually flipped through it, my eyes pausing for a moment when I saw the name Serafina Sterling, Vice President of Sterling Pharmaceuticals, listed under special guests. But the pause was fleeting, and I calmly turned the page. Gregory stood still, hesitating for a moment, then spoke softly. Mr. Thornton, Miss Blake is currently working as a cosmetics consultant at the shopping mall across the street. I happened to see her today when I was checking on a store. In the cosmetics section of the shopping mall, Sophia was trying lipstick on a customer. This shade is a new arrival. It truly suits your skin tone. She smiled, skillfully twisting open a sample tube. Her movements practiced and professional. The customer watched her intently, then tilted her head and asked, "Aren't you from the old Glass Tower family?" "You must have me mistaken, ma'am." Sophia quickly lowered her head, rearranging the sample lipsticks. "Would you like me to wrap this for you?" After the customer left, she took out her phone. Her lock screen displayed a landscape photo downloaded from the internet. There wasn't a single picture of me left in her album. "Sophia," the manager called out softly. "Could you get me 10 tubes of shade 36 from the stock room?" "Yes, ma'am," Sophia replied, turning away, inadvertently catching her reflection in a mirror. In the mirror was a woman in a uniform shirt, a neatly pinned name tag, her hair pulled back. How ironic. The Sophia who had once been so proud she ordered her lipstick directly from Paris now spent over 10 hours a day on her feet, recommending $300 lipsticks. Late that night, after the mall had closed, Sophia entered the staff corridor and bumped into Ryan. He wore a wrinkled suit, and there were several fresh bruises on his face. "Sophia," he called out. She walked past him as if he were thin air. Ryan called after her. "I found a new job at an insurance company. Your father came and caused trouble again today. I almost got fired. Please, can you tell him to stop coming?" Sophia didn't turn around, simply continued walking into the subway station. The electronic screen in the station displayed the latest news bulletin: Thornton Corporation heir and Sterling romance rumors poised to become reality. The accompanying photo was a candid shot from an evening gala, Marcus Thornton's profile, both cold and handsome. Sophia looked up, her gaze placid. She opened her phone, found a shopping app, and added a box of blood pressure medication from a nearby pharmacy to her cart. Love that had been lost, no matter how painful, could never be reclaimed.